I take this time to welcome all of you to Kenya Pharma Mentor second session. My name is Kimnetich Franklin. I will be taking you through this session where we are going to reflect on the current issues in the society. And the current issue at hand is the mental illness that we are beginning to see. There is a mental instability in our society today whereby there is school unrest, there's increased rates of suicide, murder, and more so stress and strains brought about by the constraints of life. Today, I'm going to give some therapeutic doses relevant to remedy this mental disorder that is in our society today. Kindly, if you are going to follow until the end, you will be assured that you are going to have the right dose to administer to your life, to that of your child, to that of your brother, sibling, or even a school-going children within the community. So kindly be attentive and listen to my presentation until the end. Welcome. This session will be brought to you by Kenya Pharma Mentor, which is your online partner along your professional development and your career development in whatever field you are doing. And today, this session, we are going to focus so much on what is affecting the society, as I've said, and the most dangerous way of life nowadays is not so much on the fear of unknowns, but much on the neglect of the facts we know. You know, the society is well informed. Informations that are in our mind and our disposals are very many. But things nowadays are happening because we neglect. Look, for example, terror attacks could be predicted way long before it occurred, but because of the neglect by the security personnel, the terror goes on. And it was found much detected. So in that regard, it means that even our life, we are not immune to that neglect. Our day-to-day life is not immune to that neglect that occurs in our society today. Our society knows a lot, but it is sending to us wrong signals, mismatch, misinformation, and irresponsibility. Should we continue like this? This is a question that should be on our mind. Similarly, on the other hand, we know that mental health is one of the key aspects and backbone of the life of every human being. Mental peace, on the other hand, is what we all admire, but we do not work for it. We see the need of having this mental peace, but we do not see. We hear about mental peace, but we do not hear. We read about it, but do not get it. In fact, we post on our status about it, but does not stick on our heads. I mean, what's wrong with us? This is something that we need to discuss. We need to call ourselves and talk to ourselves and reflect. Indeed, are we leading on the right path? Yeah, at times we comment about the mental peace. In fact, we forget to upload to our minds about the mental peace, but upload and comment about it. Oh, how petty we seem to be with our mental peace. Knowing that, yes, people see us that we are very peaceful, we are comfortable, we are calm, we don't have a problem, but inside us, we don't feel our hearts with mental peace. What do I mean here? The little or much we know, we do not take time to feed in the correct data and to cultivate the right antibodies against the mental stress brought about by our environment, the misfortunes such as loss of job, loss of loved one, loss of investment that you've worked for several days, divorce, family misunderstandings, tough financial constraints, employers' pressure, expenditure imbalance. These are things that contribute to a state in which you cannot think correctly, you cannot act correctly, and this affects your life. And we said, if this is affecting my life this way, then I rather stop it. There are things which are far beyond our control. We cannot control them. It just happened to us. So because we cannot control them, we do not just sit there. We cannot control these factors, but we can control how we respond to them. We can control how our body reacts to them. Yeah, if I allow my body to continue reacting or getting exposed to these factors which I cannot control from outside, then it means I am in danger. So I therefore cannot allow or cannot sit at the exposure of these external factors which are far beyond my control to affect and control my life. And that is, if these things are affecting my life, then I have to change something. The society is focusing on molding us to be very successful, but it fails to prescribe a single correct dose for the bruises and injuries we get along our way to our full potential. As we do our day-to-day activities to make sure that we are producing the best, we are giving our full potential. Since life is a battle, you tend to get bruises and injuries. But so much is focused on ways to succeed, ways to study very well, how to become very competent, how to do this, but on the mental health, on the mental wellness, on the mental soberness, little is done. And today, Kenya Pharma Mentor is here to bring to you full equipment for the basic first aid that shall help you in dressing your wounds along your pathway to compounding and dispensing your valuable service to the society. So today is a very precious day for you because the society is sailing from suicidal, murderers, school fires brought by the unrest of students who might have seen the work pressure is too much to them. They need the holidays or like the normal days. I think this is just an exposure of the things that are there in the society. It is saying something. It is saying a message about the parent. It is saying a message about the teacher. It is saying a message about the student. This one is not a matter to cast on either side. You cannot blame a teacher. You cannot blame a student. You cannot blame a parent. This is a co-responsibility which is affecting the entire system. It is affecting the entire society, be it government or everyone in the society. We also have another animal called gender-based violence. Of late, we've lost the champion in athletics because of the gender-based violence. Those you love, those you trust most, can one time, 1 point turn against you. We often sympathize and comment whatever thought that comes to our minds. Do you know that all this is a trait of mental society? This tells us something is wrong somewhere. It needs to be reflected. It needs to be handled. It needs an action from my side and from your side. Otherwise, if we continue normally, things will act to us abnormally because we are not immune. Heartbreaks, divorce, joblessness, all sorts of inadequacy, negligence, and moral deficiency in our society could in one way or another affect our lives, be it you directly, or from your child, or from your friend, or from the relative. You realize that these are the worst disease of our time. We need to understand the time. We need to understand our setting very well. We need to understand what we want in life. We need to forge a way forward in which we are going to achieve what we want. As a student, we need to sit down and reflect what is important in our life. Before you do anything, understand the time, understand the season. Is this the rightful thing to do? Yeah, it could be hard, but how much does it cost to have a peace of mind? As a student, your work pressure could be too much. As someone who is employed in a company or self-employment or whatever else you are doing, the pressure could be too much. The responsibility could be too much. The call for hard work could be too much. To a level that your mind is not in a position to think and act soberly, and your thinking capacity is a little bit compromised to a level that you cannot see a bigger picture. Your mental health is more precious than even that which you work hard for. Far much important than how you think people treat you and think of you. People nowadays focus so much on their failures and inability to do a number of things other than the lessons they learn from their lives. We could be quick to learn so much about the lives of others. We would like to be like so and so, but we don't analyze how we were yesterday and how we are today and what we want to be tomorrow. I mean, we have to study and analyze ourselves. We have to be a better version of who we were yesterday. That should be the first call. That should be the key and the base of everything that we need in life. Life is a struggle, and we all know it. There's nothing that comes out of a silver of blood. Then how do we expect things to go right all the time? And when they go wrong, we tend to be heartbroken. Instead of mounting up our energy. I think we all acknowledge the fact that something is wrong in our society. And today, Kenya Pharma Mentor is here to give 12 self-therapeutic actions that you can do for yourself against all these trends and stimulus brought about by stress that could compromise your quality thoughts and your time for thinking. Because if you feed in a problem, you realize life will continue being very difficult. And that is all about choices we make. If you want to feed a problem, you just have to keep on thinking about it. Just keep on thinking that I have a very big problem and it will be bigger. If you want to starve a problem, just take an action, even however small it might look like. Take an action that it may seem positive, it may seem working towards solving the problem at hand. And at times, the very basic thing to start with is to comfort yourself and compose up to face it. Problems feed off worry. Actions kills anxiety. So you either choose whichever you want and you realize that it is upon your personal decision. 99% of the harm in your life or in your head is normally caused by you and your thoughts. People could think of you ill, could say what is wrong against you, could even chat against within themselves against you, but in the long run, you might even fight about it. But as long as it does not affect your thoughts and you are very much composed, you are continuing to be a focused and a passionate individual who knows where he comes from, where he is, or where she is going. 1% of the harm is caused by the reality of actually what happens to us and the outcomes. So, and the good thing is that this 1% can be controlled also by how you react. In as much as they happen to us, just like that, at least you can react and say it is well with you and move on to something else. At the expense of that, you find it just as a best foregone alternative, and you just look for an alternative and life goes on. Regardless of being very passionate about it, regardless of venturing so much investment on it, you can just let go and think of another way. The way you think about the problem, that is exactly the version of that problem. You can fix most of your problem by fixing your thoughts. And that's why today, Kenya Pharma Mentor is here to remind us what we already know. The society knows a lot of information. At our disposal, at our phones, at our laptops and computers, we have this vital information, but we do not dispense it to people who need it. We just hold it there. And even to ourselves, we don't take in and we do not master them. Yeah, I'll begin the first one. I said I'm going to take you through 12 therapeutic doses necessary for mental stability and every action that revolves about the mind. You first need to work your happy hormones. And hormones are chemicals produced by different glands across your body. They travel through the bloodstream, acting as messengers and playing a part in many bodily processes. Yeah, they could be responsible with stress. They could regulate your mood. They could regulate your facial expressions and so many other functions. Among being the neurotransmitters. So these are substances and chemicals that you can trigger to control the positive factors. And at times, if you don't trigger them positively, they can act negatively. So it's upon us to master and to work with these happy hormones, which include the dopamine, the serotonin, and the oxytocin for those who are breastfeeding, and the endorphin. So to begin with, I'll just highlight about the dopamine, which it is an hormone which is known as feel-good hormone. This dopamine is an hormone and a neurotransmitter at the same time, which is important part in your brain. So dopamine is associated with pleasure, rebel sensation, along with learning, memory, motor functioning, and more others. Serotonin, on the other hand, is more else an hormone and at the same time neurotransmitter, which help regulate your mood as well as sleep, appetite, and digestion, and learning ability and memory. So you realize when you are having some little stress, it is automatic that you cannot sleep. Why? Your body is conditioned to operate under these hormones. The two hormones are vital for everyone. These hormones controls how best you feel and how bad you feel. You cannot feel for somebody else the way he or she feels. Some people, when there's too much stress, they cannot have good appetite to eat or take their meals in time. Or even others could take a meal that is far much beyond the normal ratio. Yeah, also learning ability is a problem. And memory, remembering things becomes an issue because of stress. Yeah, oxytocin is just available for those who are breastfeeding, and it's helpful for empathy, trust, bonding relationship, and physical affection with your lifetime partner. And also, this one is more on women who are breastfeeding, and we have the last one being endorphins. So endorphins are your body natural pain relievers. These are hormones which responds to stress or discomfort. At that time, which you are grieved, at that time, which you have a misfortune or a problem at hand. These are hormones which, when triggered, they comfort and bring about pain release. It relieves your pain. So in modulating all these four hormones, in coordinating them and nurturing them and hacking their system from feeling bad to feeling good, you realize that you are good to go. Number two, this is a therapeutic dose. Number two, regular exercise. It is in the know-how of everyone that physical exercise and physical activity is very important for our day-to-day life. But regular exercise is what is failing in most of us. We could say that, oh, we are doing manual work, we do not need this exercise. Yeah, you could be correct to some extent, but make sure that that manual work is relaxing and at the same time making you feel happy. When you do a physical exercise, you realize that you will end up smiling, you will end up enjoying, and you will end up being happy. There is a mood change. There is a smile that comes after an exercise. You feel better, you feel more released. So you cannot compare manual work with exercise. You cannot substitute them. They are absolutely independent because physical exercise increases the dopamine and serotonin, which we've seen. So making it a great option to boost your happy hormones. So at least 3 times a week is enough for your exercise. Number 3, we need to laugh with friends. The society nowadays is teaching us to live and neglect our friends and to develop friendships that are temporary. And nowadays we've upgraded ourselves to facts, pros and C's. You know, this scenario leaves us compromised mentally that even if you had an issue to communicate, because we all know that a problem shared is half solved. So the society nowadays has taught us differently that yes, you can share your problem and tomorrow you may find it in a newspaper. You may share your issue and you may find it, everyone in the society knows about it. They are no longer those kind of friends that can sustain a secret, can handle your issue without passing it to someone else. So we actually need to reflect, reevaluate, reanalyze the friends we have until and sustain at least one or two that forms the inner cycle of our life. These are important people and that could boost our mental stability. Because if we continue just entertaining the way things are, you will realize you are going to injure your mental stability. Number 4, sustain a sexual love affair with one partner. Nowadays, the society is in competition to have as much as possible. The youth are in a rush to get as many partners as possible, but in the long run, they are playing with their chemical hormones, which we've said, and these chemical hormones are produced on certain occasions, which when you have more than one partner, your hormones would get confused because your pleasure hormones are transmitted to different people. So you will realize that you are going to lose the interest with time, and that loss of interest would limit how you feel good, and your mood will be compromised in that you will find the persons around you unworthy to be appreciated and to be loved and to be cared for. So you start living a carefree attitude. You start ignoring and neglecting your personal responsibilities. And you just become someone who has no self-control in the end. So you need to master the art of sticking around with one partner, because it's good to stabilize your hormones. It's good to stabilize the attachment. So in the end, it is clear to us that we need to sustain that. So we need to proclaim that which we believe also. Nowadays, we attest to be Christians, we attest to hold to a certain faith, but we do not do exact things that spirituality require of us. We tend to be more of hypocritical. Number 6, we need to read books. We need to develop a culture that every now and then we study and interact with the great minds of this world so that it sharpens us on how to tackle life, how to tackle day-to-day challenges. And you will realize that you will interact with a friend who or another who have gone through what you are going through at the moment. Number 7, you need to find a lovely song that you can sing when you are down. So keep a song, because song stimulates this hormone. It is necessary to keep a song in your heart, which you feel good when you sing and you enjoy it. So number 8, you need to spend your leisure time away from the crowd. At least once in a while, visit the rural areas in case you are in an urban setting. And in case you are in a rural setting, you find time to interact with nature. Go to the river and enjoy the evening breezes. Walk to the mountains and enjoy your time there. Find your time away from cameras, because most of this leisure time nowadays are taken with our phones by our attitude and our way of doing things. That is our behavior of looking for a strategic position to pose for a good picture that in the end we will go and post in our status. Yeah, it's good to do so, but most importantly is to have that quality time with yourself. Number 9, spend most of your leisure time and work time offline. It is like most of the society now, with the access of the Wi-Fi or good sufficient bundles, it's like with that condition being favorable, you are going to spend sleepless nights. We cannot concentrate to our works. We cannot have quality leisure because of the disturbance given by the phones and the online. At least make sure that you are safeguarding your mental wellness. Everything has limits, and so should be your way of doing things online. Be online when you have a basic need, when it is necessary to communicate, when it is necessary to look for the current updates. It is useless also to be online and update and see other people's status and what the society is nowadays liking. That is fashion and comedy and memes. Look for something which is constructive, which is beneficial for your health, which is beneficial for your progress. Number 10, we need to get quality sunshine in the morning, good rest, and avoid multitasking to a limit whereby we cannot rest. It's good to multitask. It has good revenue in the end, but we also need to take some good sufficient rest. That morning sunshine is important. Number 11, cultivate your hobby. Find something which when you do, you are very excited. If it is farming, have a small curtain that when you see it, you are happy. If it is sports, develop that sport. When you go there for 30 minutes, you will come home happy. You will smile and you know that you've done something for yourself, not for anyone else. Finally, we are saying that we are learning all these concepts, not just to know about them. But number 12 is more important than all the rest. Number 12 is focus so much on practicing the rest 11. So having known these 12 therapeutic doses necessary for handling any stress, any stimulus that comes externally, we need to be confident enough not only in our today life, but also what shall come to us tomorrow. Not only to ourselves, but to some other siblings coming after us. So know it, practice it. Now you have been reminded about these facts. Use it, pass it on to someone else by sharing this vital information to everyone in the society, also in the city today, because it is good for us to remind ourselves of that which is basic. Our mental wellness is the key driver for the progress of our society. So with that, I would like to urge everyone to continue reminding himself or herself about the need and the direct implication brought about by carelessness of knowing things but not doing it. It should come to a stop. It should be eliminated completely. So if this is harming my body, if this is harming my mental wellness, then I shall leave it. Yeah, the thing that should be left completely is that attitude of neglecting the small things we know. That attitude of reading the concepts and ignoring them. So put everything into practice and everything shall be fine with you and your mental wellness shall be very, very stable. God bless you and thank you.